Most people stop learning after formal education ends. They get degree, they get job, learning stops. They coast on existing knowledge. They never deliberately grow their capabilities. This stagnation is why they remain average while small percentage continuously advance. Daily education is competitive advantage, not occasional learning, not random consumption. Systematic daily investment in growing knowledge and skills. This compounds over time into expertise that places you far ahead of those who stop learning. Think about it mathematically. Someone who learns nothing new stays where they are. Someone who learns 1% better daily is 37 times better after 1 year. Not 37%, 37 times. This is compound learning. Small daily improvements creating dramatic long-term advantage. Most people don't believe this. They think you're born smart or you're not. They think expertise is talent. They think learning is for school. These beliefs keep them stagnant while learners continuously advance. The gap between learners and non-learners widens dramatically over time. Right now, you're either learning or falling behind. There's no standing still. Information increases, skills evolve, markets change. If you're not actively learning, you're relatively declining, even if staying same. Others are advancing. You're not. Gap grows. Your current knowledge has expiration date. What you know today becomes outdated. Skills that are valuable now become less valuable. If you're not continuously updating, you're continuously becoming less relevant. Daily education is how you maintain and increase relevance. This isn't just about career. It's about life mastery. Understanding psychology makes you better in relationships. Understanding economics makes you better with money. Understanding health science makes you better at maintaining vitality. Learning in all domains makes you more capable human. The people ahead of you aren't smarter. They're learners. They invest daily in education. They build knowledge systematically. They develop skills deliberately. This consistent investment compounds into expertise that seems like genius, but is actually accumulated learning. This audiobook is about creating that same advantage for yourself. Learning to educate yourself daily. Building systems for continuous learning. Developing skills that matter. Accumulating knowledge strategically. Creating expertise through systematic investment. We'll explore 10 essential dimensions of daily education. Understanding what self-education really requires. Choosing what to learn strategically. Creating daily learning practice. Learning from multiple sources. Applying knowledge immediately. Teaching to deepen learning. Building knowledge systems. Reading strategically and effectively. Learning from experience systematically. And staying motivated long-term. These aren't just about reading more books. They're about systematic knowledge acquisition and skill development that creates genuine advantage. Understanding how learning works, what creates retention, what builds expertise, what matters most. This understanding makes your learning dramatically more effective. But I need to be honest. Daily education requires discipline. Your brain prefers the entertainment to learning. Social media is easier than reading. Netflix is more comfortable than studying. Overcoming these easy alternatives to choose daily learning requires genuine commitment. Most people won't do this. They'll intend to learn. They'll buy books they don't read. They'll save articles they don't review. They'll remain exactly where they are while small percentage who actually learns daily pulls ahead. Year after year, the gap grows. Can you commit to daily learning? Can you prioritize education over entertainment? Can you invest 30 to 60 minutes daily in deliberate learning? If yes, then staying ahead of 99% becomes achievable. If no, then you'll remain in the 99% rather than ahead of them. Because here's the truth. Knowledge is ultimate competitive advantage. Money can be lost, jobs can disappear, positions can be eliminated, but knowledge and skills you've developed are permanent assets no one can take. The more you accumulate, the more valuable you become. Your current knowledge level determines your current results. Better knowledge creates better decisions. Better decisions create better outcomes. Better outcomes create better life. Daily education is investing in better everything through better knowing. This continues until you commit to daily learning, until you build education into daily practice, until you systematically accumulate knowledge that creates advantage, until learning becomes who you are, not just what you occasionally do. 6 months from now, You could have dramatically more knowledge. You could have developed valuable skills. You could have expertise in areas that create opportunities. All because you educated yourself daily while others consumed entertainment. Or 6 months from now, you could know exactly what you know today. Same capabilities, same limitations, same position. Just 6 months older without 6 months of accumulated learning. The difference is whether you commit to daily education. This is your opportunity, not to become academic or theoretical, but to become continuously learning, continuously growing, continuously more capable. To build knowledge advantage that places you ahead of vast majority who stopped learning. Stop consuming without learning. Stop wasting time on entertainment disguised as education. Stop hoping to somehow gain knowledge without systematic effort. Start educating yourself daily. Start building real advantage. Let's learn exactly how to do that. Let's master daily education. And let's create knowledge advantage that places you ahead of 99%. Educate yourself every day. Stay ahead of 99%. The work starts now. Chapter 1. Understand what self-education really requires. Before you can educate yourself effectively, you need to understand what self-education actually requires. Most people have wrong understanding. They think reading occasionally is education. They think watching educational videos is learning. They confuse consumption with actual learning. Real self-education is deliberate knowledge acquisition and skill development, not passive consumption, active engagement, processing information, applying knowledge, creating understanding. This active learning is what creates genuine expertise. Self-education also requires direction, not random learning, strategic selection of what matters. Focus on knowledge that creates value, skills that provide advantage. Understanding this distinction prevents wasting time on interesting but irrelevant learning. Let me explain what self-education really requires. First, self-education requires deliberate practice, not passive consumption. Watching video isn't learning unless you're actively engaging, taking notes, pausing to think, testing understanding, applying concepts. Active engagement creates learning. Passive watching creates illusion of learning. Entertainment consumption feels like learning but isn't. You must distinguish between consuming and learning. Learning requires effort. Consumption requires attention. Second, self-education requires application. Knowledge not applied is knowledge not learned. You must use what you learn, practice skills, implement concepts, create with knowledge. Application transforms information into capability. Theoretical knowledge without application remains theoretical. Applicable knowledge becomes skill through use. Third, self-education requires systematic approach, not random learning based on whatever appears interesting. Strategic curriculum you design, building knowledge deliberately, from foundation to advanced, from broad to specific. Random learning creates scattered knowledge. Systematic learning creates coherent expertise. System beats randomness. Fourth, self-education requires retention practices. Information you don't remember isn't learned. You must use techniques that create retention. Spaced repetition, active recall, teaching others. These retention practices make learning permanent. Reading and forgetting is common. Reading and remembering through retention practices is learning. Fifth, self-education requires focus and depth, not superficial overview of many topics. Deep understanding of important topics. Depth creates expertise. Breadth creates dilettantism. Choose depth strategically. Knowing little about everything is parlor trick. Knowing deeply about valuable things is expertise. Choose expertise. Sixth, self-education requires honest assessment, testing your understanding, identifying gaps, acknowledging what you don't know. This honesty prevents false confidence and enables genuine learning. Assuming you understand when you don't prevents real learning. Testing and acknowledging gaps enables it. Seventh, self-education requires time investment, minimum 30 minutes daily, ideally 60 or more. This isn't spare time if available. This is protected priority time. And daily investment compounds into significant knowledge. Sporadic learning creates minimal progress. Daily learning creates compound expertise. Consistency matters more than occasional intensity. Eighth, self-education requires quality sources, not just any information, authoritative, accurate, valuable information, books by experts, courses by practitioners, research by scientists. Quality sources create quality knowledge. Internet is full of misinformation. Curating quality sources is essential skill for self-education. Ninth, self-education requires connection building, linking new knowledge to existing knowledge, seeing relationships between concepts, building mental models. These connections create understanding, not just information collection. Isolated facts are hard to remember and apply. Connected knowledge is memorable and useful. 10th, self-education requires long-term commitment, not 3-month burst, years-long practice. Expertise takes time, patience with process, trust in compound effect. This long-term view enables persistence. Short-term thinking creates abandoned learning attempts. Long-term commitment creates genuine expertise. Here's what real self-education looks like. You identify valuable domain. You find quality sources. You schedule daily 60-minute learning session. You actively engage. Take notes. Test yourself. Apply concepts. You build systematically from basics to advanced. You review regularly for retention. You connect new knowledge to existing. You continue daily for months and years. This creates genuine expertise. Compared to fake self-education, you buy books you don't read. You save articles you don't review. While you watch videos passively, you learn randomly whatever seems interesting. No application, no testing, no system, no retention practices. Years pass. Knowledge hasn't actually increased despite time-consuming content. Here's your practice. Assess current learning approach honestly. Are you consuming or learning? Random or systematic? Passive or active? With or without application? No retention practices or deliberate retention? This honest assessment reveals gap between current approach and effective self-education. Then commit to genuine self-education using principles above. The difference in results over months and years is dramatic. Understand what self-education requires. Deliberate practice, not passive consumption. Application of knowledge. Systematic approach. Retention practices. Focus and depth. Honest assessment. Time investment. Quality sources. Connection building. Long-term commitment. Chapter 2. Choose what to learn. Strategically. You can't learn everything. Time is limited. Attention is finite. Strategic selection of what to learn determines whether your education creates advantage or wastes time. Learning wrong things, even learning them well, doesn't help. Most people learn randomly. Whatever seems interesting. Whatever appears in feed. Whatever friend recommends. This creates scattered knowledge that doesn't compound into expertise or advantage. Strategic learners choose deliberately based on what creates value. Strategic selection considers multiple factors. What creates career advantage? What improves key life areas? What builds on existing knowledge? What has long useful life? These considerations guide investment toward high-return learning. Let me teach you strategic selection of what to learn. First, you'll identify your primary value creation domain. Where do you create most value professionally? What expertise would multiply that value? Focus primary learning here. Becoming top percentage in primary domain creates disproportionate returns. Scattered learning across many domains creates mediocre performance in all. Focused learning in key domain creates excellence that's highly valuable. Second, learn fundamentals first, then advanced. Many people jump to advanced topics without mastering fundamentals. This creates shaky knowledge. Solid fundamentals enable rapid advanced learning. Start foundational. Build upward. Advance without foundation is fragile. Advanced on solid foundation is robust. Build foundation first. Third, prioritize high-leverage knowledge. Some knowledge multiplies effectiveness across many areas. Mental models, decision-making frameworks, communication skills. These high-leverage areas improve everything. Domain-specific knowledge is valuable in that domain. High-leverage knowledge is valuable everywhere. Balance both. Fourth, learn adjacent skills to primary expertise. Skills that complement core competency. Engineer learning business, marketer learning psychology, writer learning design. Adjacent skills create unique, valuable combinations. Pure specialist is limited. Specialist with complementary skills is versatile and valuable. Build strategic skill combinations. Fifth, focus on evergreen knowledge over trendy. Some knowledge has short half-life, trendy frameworks, specific tools. Other knowledge remains valuable indefinitely. Human psychology, mathematical principles, historical patterns. Evergreen knowledge is better long-term investment. On trendy knowledge becomes obsolete quickly. Evergreen knowledge remains valuable indefinitely. Prioritize evergreen. Sixth, learn what you can actually apply. Knowledge you can't use doesn't create value. Can you apply this in work, life, projects? If not, its value is questionable. Prioritize applicable knowledge. Interesting but inapplicable is trivia. Interesting and applicable is valuable. Choose applicable. Seventh, build knowledge in areas where you have advantage. Natural interest, existing foundation, access to practice. These advantages compound your learning. Strategic positioning multiplies results. Learning where your disadvantage is harder. Learning where your advantage is efficient. Play to strengths strategically. Eighth, diversify across time horizons. Some learning pays off immediately, some takes years. Just balance quick return and long-term investment. This creates both immediate value and long-term advantage. Only immediate return is myopic. Only long-term is impractical. Balance both timeframes. Ninth, anticipate what becomes valuable. What skills are becoming important? What knowledge will be in demand? Learn ahead of curve. This creates advantage as others realize importance and start learning. Learning what's currently valuable is competitive. Learning what will be valuable is strategic advantage. 10th, eliminate low-value learning. Stop learning things that don't serve goals. Interesting but useless. Entertaining but not applicable. Time spent here is opportunity cost. Ruthlessly eliminate low-value learning. All learning is unequal. High-value learning moves you forward. Low-value learning wastes time. Choose high-value. Here's what strategic selection looks like. You're a software developer. You identify primary domain, full-stack development. You master fundamentals, data structures, algorithms, design patterns. You learn adjacent skills, product design, user psychology, business fundamentals. You focus on evergreen, computer science principles, software architecture. You anticipate future, machine learning basics, system scalability. You apply everything in projects. This strategic curriculum builds valuable expertise. Each component chosen deliberately, nothing random. Everything serves developing into top-tier developer with business understanding and forward-looking skills. Compared to random learning, you learn whatever seems interesting. Random programming languages, random frameworks, no clear progression, no application. We're scattered knowledge that doesn't compound into expertise. Years later, you know a little about many things, but aren't expert in anything valuable. Here's your practice. Define your primary value creation domain. What expertise would multiply your value there? That becomes core learning focus. Identify adjacent skills that complement. List evergreen knowledge worth learning. Anticipate what becomes valuable in your domain. Create strategic learning curriculum from this analysis. This strategic selection ensures every hour invested in learning creates maximum value. Not interesting learning. Strategic learning that creates advantage. Choose what to learn strategically. Identify primary domain. Learn fundamentals first. Prioritize high-leverage knowledge. Learn adjacent skills. Focus on evergreen knowledge. Learn what you can apply. Build where you have advantage. Diversify time horizons. Anticipate future value. Eliminate low-value learning. Chapter 3. Create daily learning practice. Knowledge of what to learn means nothing without daily practice. Daily learning is what creates compound advantage. Not occasional bursts, not weekend binges, consistent daily investment. This consistency is what separates continuous learners from perpetual beginners. Daily practice must be protected time, not leftover time if available. Scheduled priority time, same time daily. This consistency builds habit. Habit removes friction. Learning becomes automatic rather than requiring daily decision and willpower. Daily practice also needs structure. Not vague, learn something, specific process for specific time. This structure ensures quality learning happens consistently. Structure eliminates decision fatigue and creates reliable progress. Let me teach you to create daily learning practice. First, schedule specific daily time. Same time daily. Protected time. Nothing schedules over it. 30 minutes minimum. 60 minutes ideal. This scheduled time is when learning happens without negotiation. Flexible time means no time. Scheduled time means protected time. Schedule it. Second, create dedicated learning space. Physical location associated with learning. Not bedroom. Not in front of TV. Dedicated space where you do focused learning. Environment association helps mental state. Space that's for everything is optimal for nothing. Space that's for learning optimizes learning. Third, eliminate distractions completely. Phone off and away. Internet access limited to necessary resources. Notifications disabled. Door closed. Complete focus on learning. No divided attention. Distracted learning is ineffective learning. Focused learning is efficient learning. Create focus through elimination. Fourth, start with same ritual. Coffee and sit down. Review yesterday's notes. Same starting process that signals learning time begins. This ritual creates consistent entry into learning state. Random start makes consistency harder. Ritualized start makes consistency automatic. Create ritual. Fifth, use active learning techniques. Don't just read passively. Take notes, ask questions, test yourself, explain concepts aloud. Active engagement creates actual learning. Passive reading creates familiarity. Active engagement creates understanding. Always engage actively. Sixth, apply immediately what you learn. Same-day application when possible. Within week at latest. Use knowledge or practice skill. Application transforms information into capability. When knowledge not applied remains theoretical. Applied knowledge becomes skill. Apply everything. Seventh, end with review and planning. What did you learn today? What will you learn tomorrow? Brief review and preview creates continuity, shows progress, sets direction. Session without review loses value. Review captures value and prepares next session. Eighth, track daily completion. Mark calendar. Log time. Track topics covered. Visual progress creates motivation and accountability. Seeing streak build reinforces habit. Untracked practice is invisible. Track practice shows progress. Track it. Ninth, adjust based on what works. Sometimes work better than others. Some methods work better for certain material. Monitor effectiveness. Adjust accordingly. Continuous optimization improves results. Fixed approach regardless of effectiveness is stubborn. Adaptive approach based on results is intelligent. Adjust continuously. 10th, make practice non-negotiable. Not if I have time. Absolute commitment. Life happens around learning time, not through it. This non-negotiable status is what creates consistency. Negotiable practice fails. Non-negotiable practice succeeds. Make it non-negotiable. Here's what daily practice looks like. 6 a.m. daily. Dedicated corner of home office. Phone off. Close door. Pour coffee. Sit down. Review yesterday's notes. This ritual signals learning time. 60 minutes of focused learning. Active reading with notes. Testing understanding. Applying concepts to current project. At end, brief review of what learned. Note for tomorrow's session. Mark calendar. This happens every day. Non-negotiable. Protected. Should be consistent. After 30 days, habit is forming. After 90 days, it's automatic. After a year, you've invested 365 hours in focused learning. This compounds into significant knowledge and skill advantage. Compared to no daily practice. You learn when you have time, which is rarely. You consume content passively in fragmented time. No focus, no application, no tracking, no consistency. Year passes. Learning is minimal despite intentions. No advantage created because no consistent practice existed. Here's your practice. Starting tomorrow, create daily learning practice. Choose time. Set up space. Eliminate distractions. Create ritual. Commit to 30 days minimum. Mark daily completion. After 30 days, assess and refine. Continue indefinitely. This daily practice is foundation for all other learning strategies. And without it, knowledge remains intention. With it, knowledge becomes accumulation that creates advantage. Create daily learning practice. Schedule specific time. Create dedicated space. Eliminate distractions. Start with ritual. Use active learning. Apply immediately. End with review. Track completion. Adjust based on what works. Make non-negotiable. Chapter 4. Learn from multiple sources. Single-source learning is limited. Books alone miss practical wisdom. Experience alone misses theoretical framework. Courses alone miss real-world application. Multiple source learning creates rich, robust understanding. Different sources provide different perspectives and different types of knowledge. Strategic learners use complementary sources, books for theory, podcasts for insights, courses for structure, practice for skill, mentors for wisdom. Each source type has strengths. Combining them creates comprehensive learning that single source can't provide. Multiple sources also enable triangulation. When multiple credible sources agree, confidence increases. When they disagree, you investigate deeper. This cross-referencing prevents accepting false information or incomplete understanding. Let me teach you multi-source learning. First, use books for foundational knowledge. Books provide depth impossible in short form, comprehensive treatment of topics, well-researched, edited. Quality books are essential learning source, but books alone are insufficient. They provide theory and framework. They don't provide practice or current developments or personalized feedback. Use books as foundation, not only source. Second, use courses for structured learning. Good courses provide organized curriculum, progressive structure, clear path from basic to advanced. This structure helps you learn systematically rather than randomly. Courses also often include exercises and assessments. These create application and testing that books don't provide. Use courses for structured skill development. Third, use mentors for practical wisdom. If mentors have walked path you're walking, they know pitfalls. They can provide personalized guidance. Access to mentor, even occasionally, accelerates learning dramatically. Mentors provide what books and courses can't: personalized feedback and hard-won practical wisdom. Seek mentors strategically. Fourth, use practice for skill development. Theory from books, framework from courses, but skill only develops through practice. Deliberate practice with feedback. This is where knowledge becomes capability. Reading about skill is not having skill. Practicing skill is having skill. Practice extensively. Fifth, use peer learning for different perspectives. Study groups, discussion forums, peer collaboration. Others learning same material see differently. Their questions and insights enhance your understanding. Peer learning also creates accountability and makes learning social rather than solely solitary. Use peer learning strategically. Sixth, use podcasts and videos for supplemental learning. While less deep than books, these formats provide current content. Expert interviews, practical insights. They're good for supplemental learning and making use of commute time. But don't replace deep learning with only audio/video. Use these to supplement, not replace, deep learning sources. Seventh, use primary sources when possible. Original research, original writing. Primary sources provide unfiltered understanding. Secondary sources interpret. Primary sources let you interpret. When practical, go to primary sources. Interpretations are filtered through others' understanding. Primary sources let you form own understanding. Seek primary sources. Eighth, use teaching as learning source. When you teach what you're learning, you understand it differently. Teaching reveals gaps. Teaching forces clear explanation. Teaching deepens learning. Teaching may be formal or informal. Explain to friend. Write blog post. Create tutorial. Any teaching format works. Teach to deepen learning. Ninth, learn from experience systematically. Experience is valuable teacher, but only if you extract lessons. Reflect on experiences. What worked? What didn't? Why? Extract principles from experience. Raw experience without reflection is just events. Experience with systematic reflection is learning. Reflect systematically. 10th, cross-reference and verify. Don't accept single source as truth. Check multiple sources. Look for agreement and disagreement. Investigate discrepancies. In this verification creates reliable knowledge. Single source might be wrong or incomplete. Multiple sources create reliable understanding. Always cross-reference important information. Here's what multi-source learning looks like. You're learning marketing. You read foundational books, influence, marketing textbooks, case study books. You take practical course on digital marketing. You find mentor who's successful marketer. You practice by running actual campaigns. You join marketing study group. You listen to marketing podcasts during commute. You study successful campaigns as primary sources. You write blog posts explaining concepts to teach. You reflect weekly on campaign results to extract lessons. You cross-reference tactics you're learning against multiple expert sources. This comprehensive multi-source approach creates deep, where practical, verified knowledge. Theory from books, structure from course, wisdom from mentor, skill from practice, perspectives from peers, current insights from podcasts, real examples from primary sources, deeper understanding from teaching, lessons from reflection, reliability from cross-referencing. Compare to single-source learning. You read marketing books only, or take course only, or learn only from experience. Each alone is insufficient. Books without practice is theory without skill. Practice without theory is trial and error without framework. Single source creates partial understanding. Here's your practice. For current learning domain, identify multiple complementary sources, books, courses, mentors, practice opportunities, peer groups, teaching opportunities, primary sources. Don't rely on single source. Create multi-source learning approach that provides comprehensive understanding. Learn from multiple sources, use books for foundation, use courses for structure, use mentors for wisdom, use practice for skill, use peer learning for perspectives, use podcasts and videos for supplemental, use primary sources when possible, use teaching as learning, learn from experience systematically, cross-reference and verify. Chapter 5. Apply knowledge immediately. Knowledge not applied is knowledge not learned. Application is where understanding solidifies, where theory becomes skill, where information becomes capability. Immediate application is crucial for actual learning, not just information collection. Most people consume information without applying it. They read, they watch, they listen, but they don't do. This creates illusion of learning without actual capability development. They know about things without knowing how to do things. Immediate application means same day or same week use of new knowledge, while fresh in mind, before it fades. This immediacy creates strong connection between knowledge and action. Delayed application often becomes no application. Let me teach you immediate application. First, identify application opportunity before learning. Don't learn random things. Learn things you can apply immediately. Have project, problem, or situation where you'll use knowledge. This ensures application opportunity exists. Learning without application opportunity is usually wasted. Learning with clear application opportunity is valuable. Always have application in mind. Second, plan application during learning. As you learn, note how you'll apply this. Specific actions you'll take, problems you'll solve, projects you'll improve. Planning application during learning increases likelihood of actual application. Learning without application plan becomes theoretical. Learning with application plan becomes practical. Plan as you learn. Third, apply within 24 hours when possible. Same-day application is ideal. Next day at latest. Fresh learning applies more easily than faded learning. Immediacy creates better results and better retention. Delayed application faces two obstacles: forgetting and procrastination. Immediate application avoids both. Apply quickly. Fourth, start with small application. Don't wait for perfect large-scale application. Use principle in one conversation. Try technique in one situation. Small immediate application is better than waiting for large delayed application. Large application often never happens. Small application happens frequently and builds skill incrementally. Start small. Fifth, document application and results. What did you apply? How did it work? What would you adjust? This documentation creates learning from application, reveals what works, guides future application. Application without documentation is experience without learning. Documented application is experience plus learning. Document it. Sixth, iterate based on results. First application rarely perfect. Adjust and apply again. Multiple iterations create skill. Each iteration improves understanding and execution. Single application is trial. Multiple iterations are skill development. Iterate. Seventh, teach application to others. Not just theory, how you applied it, what happened, what you learned. Teaching application reinforces your understanding and helps others. Teaching theory is okay. Teaching application is valuable. Share your application experiences. Eighth, create systems that force application. Challenges, projects, commitments, systems that require using new knowledge. These systems ensure application happens rather than being optional. Optional application often doesn't happen. Required application happens. Create requirement. Ninth, connect new application to existing practices. Don't add application as separate thing. Integrate into current work or life. This connection makes applications sustainable rather than temporary experiment. Separate experiments are temporary. Integrated practices are permanent. Integrate application. 10th, measure application impact. How did application affect results? Specific improvements? This measurement shows value of application and motivates continued application. Unmeasured application has unclear value. Measured application shows clear benefit. Measure impact. Here's what immediate application looks like. You learn new productivity technique. Same day. You apply it to afternoon work. You document setup and first impressions. Next day, you adjust based on experience. You apply refined version. After week, you've iterated several times. Technique is now working well. You write short posts explaining your application process for others. You measure productivity improvement. 20% more completion in same time. This measurement proves value. Technique becomes permanent practice integrated into daily work. This application process transformed information into skill. Theory became practice. Knowledge became capability, all through immediate iterative application with documentation and measurement. Compare to no application. You learn same technique. Sounds interesting. You intend to try it. Week passes. You haven't applied. Month passes. You've forgotten specifics. You never actually gain skill despite learning about it. Knowledge remained theoretical because application never happened. Here's your practice. For everything you learn this week, identify immediate application opportunity. Apply within 24 hours. Document application and results. Iterate based on feedback. After 1 month of consistent immediate application, you'll have developed multiple new capabilities that mere learning without application wouldn't create. Apply knowledge immediately. Identify application opportunity beforehand. Plan application during learning. Apply within 24 hours. Start with small application. Document application and results. Iterate based on results. Teach application to others. Create systems forcing application. Connect to existing practices. Measure impact. Chapter 6, Teach to Deepen. Learning. Teaching is one of most effective learning techniques. When you teach, you must understand clearly enough to explain. This forces deeper processing than passive learning. Teaching reveals gaps you didn't know existed. It solidifies understanding through articulation. You don't need formal teaching role. Any explanation counts. Writing article, explaining to friend, creating tutorial, making video, any format where you explain what you're learning. This explanation process deepens your own understanding dramatically. Teaching also creates accountability. When others learn from you, you want to get it right. This accountability motivates better understanding than private learning. Teaching makes learning more rigorous. Let me teach you to use teaching as learning tool. First, teach before feeling expert. Don't wait until mastery. Teach as you learn. Document your learning journey. Explain what you're understanding as you understand it. This learning in public accelerates your development. Waiting for expertise before teaching means rarely teaching. Teaching during learning accelerates toward expertise. Start early. Second, explain in simple language. Don't hide behind jargon. Explain simply enough that beginner understands. This simple explanation requires deep understanding. Complexity is easy. Simplicity requires mastery. Test of understanding is ability to explain simply. Practice simple explanation. Third, use examples liberally. Abstract explanation is hard to follow. Concrete examples make concepts clear. Multiple examples from different contexts show breadth of understanding. Examples are bridges between abstract and concrete. Use many bridges, provide multiple examples. Fourth, anticipate questions. What would someone learning this wonder? What would confuse them? Address these preemptively. Anticipating questions shows depth of understanding. Teaching that doesn't anticipate questions is incomplete. Teaching that anticipates and addresses questions is thorough. Anticipate deeply. Fifth, create analogies. Compare new concept to familiar concept. Good analogy makes difficult concept accessible. Creating analogies requires understanding essence of concept. Analogies are powerful teaching tools. They're also powerful learning tools for teacher. Create analogies. Sixth, structure explanations logically. Beginning, middle, end. Foundation before building. Simple before complex. Logical structure helps learners and requires clear understanding from teacher. Disorganized explanation suggests disorganized understanding. Logical explanation suggests clear understanding. Structure logically. Seventh, invite questions and feedback. Let learners ask. Their questions reveal what needs better explanation. Their confusion shows what you need to understand better. Use feedback to improve understanding. Teaching without feedback is monologue. Teaching with feedback is dialogue that improves both parties. Invite feedback. Eighth, teach different audiences. Explain to expert. Explain to beginner. Different audiences require different explanations. This flexibility shows deep understanding from multiple angles. Single explanation to single audience is limited. Multiple explanations to different audiences is comprehensive. Teach diverse audiences. Ninth, update teaching as understanding deepens. Your first explanation won't be perfect. As you learn more, revise explanations. Updated teaching reflects updated understanding. This iteration builds expertise. Static teaching suggests static understanding. Updated teaching suggests growing understanding. Update regularly. 10th, document your teaching. Write, record, save explanations. This documentation serves multiple purposes. Reference for others, reflection for you, evidence of growing expertise. Undocumented teaching helps in moment. Documented teaching helps over time. Document it. Here's what teaching as learning looks like. You're learning data analysis. You start blog documenting journey. Week 1, basic statistics I learned this week. Simple explanation with examples. Week 5, how I analyze data from spreadsheets. Tutorial with process. Week 10, common data mistakes I've learned to avoid. Synthesis of learning. Each post requires clear understanding. Each post receives questions that deepen your understanding. Each post documents growing expertise. After 6 months, you have substantial documented learning. You've taught continuously while learning. This teaching deepened understanding beyond what private learning would create. Your ability to explain concepts simply proves mastery that passive learning wouldn't achieve. Compared to learning without teaching, you learn same data analysis, keep it private. No explanation required. No questions to answer. No feedback to incorporate. Understanding remains hazier because teaching never forced clarity. 6 months later, you know data analysis less well than teaching version, despite same source material. Here's your practice. Start teaching what you're learning. Choose format, blog, videos, social media posts, study group presentations, mentoring, whatever fits. Commit to explaining concepts as you learn them. Use teaching to force deeper understanding. Use feedback to reveal gaps. After 3 months, compare your understanding to what it would be without teaching. Teaching version will be dramatically deeper. Teach to deepen learning. Teach before feeling expert. Explain in simple language. Use examples liberally. Anticipate questions. Create analogies. Structure logically. Invite feedback. Teach different audiences. Update as understanding deepens. Document your teaching. Chapter 7. Build knowledge systems. Knowledge accumulation without organization is pile of facts. Knowledge organized into systems is accessible expertise. Systems connect information, create retrieval paths, enable application, transform scattered knowledge into usable framework. Most people accumulate information without organizing it. They learn things, then forget where they learned it or forget the details. They can't retrieve when needed. This makes accumulated knowledge less valuable than it could be. Knowledge systems are personal infrastructure for capturing, organizing, and retrieving knowledge. These systems make your learning accessible and useful. They compound value of everything you learn. Let me teach you to build knowledge systems. First, create central repository. Single location for all learning notes. Not scattered across notebooks, files, apps. One system where everything goes. This centralization makes retrieval possible. Scattered notes are lost notes. Centralized notes are accessible notes. Choose one system and use it consistently. Second, capture immediately when learning. Don't trust memory. Note key concepts, important insights, useful details. Capture during or immediately after learning. Fresh capture is accurate. Delayed capture is incomplete. Memory is unreliable. Immediate notes are reliable. Always capture immediately. Third, organize around topics or themes, not chronologically, by subject matter. This topical organization makes finding related information easy. All marketing notes together. All psychology notes together. Chronological organization is how learning happens. Topical organization is how knowledge is used. In an organized topically. Fourth, use consistent structure within notes. For each topic, key concepts, definitions, examples, applications, questions, connections. Consistent structure makes notes usable. Random structure is confusing. Consistent structure is clear. Establish structure and use consistently. Fifth, link related concepts. When you learn something connected to previous learning, link them. These connections create knowledge web. Following links builds understanding. Isolated notes are islands. Linked notes are network. Link extensively. Sixth, review and refine regularly. Weekly review of recent notes. Monthly review of older notes. This review consolidates learning and updates organization. Review transforms information into integrated knowledge. No review system is collection. Reviewed system is knowledge base. Review regularly. Seventh, create summaries and synthesis. Don't just collect individual notes. Create overview documents. Synthesize multiple sources. Build frameworks. These high-level documents show big picture. Individual notes are details. Synthesis documents are understanding. Create both. Eighth, make searchable. Digital system with search capability. Tag notes with relevant keywords. This searchability makes retrieval instant when you need information. Unsearchable notes require manual finding. Searchable notes enable instant retrieval. Make everything searchable. Ninth, extract actionable items. As you learn, note specific actions you'll take, techniques you'll use, practices you'll implement. These actionable extracts bridge knowledge to application. Knowledge notes are information. Action notes are implementation. Extract actionable items. 10th, back up and protect. Your knowledge system is valuable asset. Back it up. Protect it. Don't risk losing years of accumulated organized knowledge. Lost system is lost learning. Protected system is preserved learning. Back up everything. Here's what knowledge system looks like. You use note-taking app. All learning notes go there. You organize by topics: productivity, communication, psychology, technical skills. Each note follows structure, concept, definition, examples, my applications, questions, connections to other concepts. You tag notes with keywords for searching. Weekly, you review week's notes. Monthly, you review and refine organization. You create synthesis documents combining insights from multiple sources. You extract action items into separate implementation lists. Everything backed up automatically to cloud. After a year, you have comprehensive organized knowledge base. Hundreds of notes, connected, searchable, reviewable, accessible. This system makes your accumulated learning usable. Any concept can be retrieved instantly. Related concepts can be reviewed together. This organized knowledge is dramatically more valuable than scattered information. Compare to no system. Same learning, but notes scattered across notebooks, apps, random files. No organization, no search, no review, no synthesis. Years later, you remember learning things but can't retrieve details. Your accumulated learning is largely inaccessible and therefore less valuable. Here's your practice. Choose knowledge system. Note app, personal wiki, whatever works. Set up organizational structure. Start capturing all learning there. Use consistent note format. Link related concepts. Review weekly. After 3 months, you'll have organized knowledge base that makes all your learning accessible and useful. Build knowledge systems. Create central repository. Capture immediately. Organize topically. Use consistent structure. Link related concepts. Review regularly. Create synthesis. Make searchable. Extract actionable items. Backup and protect. Chapter 8. Read strategically and effectively. Reading is fundamental learning tool, but most people read ineffectively. They read passively. They don't retain. They don't apply. Strategic reading is deliberate practice that maximizes learning from written material. This strategic approach multiplies value of time spent reading. Strategic reading starts with selection, not reading everything. Reading what matters, what builds expertise, what creates value. Quality sources on important topics. This selection ensures reading time is invested well. Strategic reading also includes active engagement, not passive consumption. Active processing. This engagement creates understanding and retention that passive reading doesn't achieve. Let me teach you strategic and effective reading. First, choose books that build knowledge systematically. Don't read randomly. Build reading lists that develops expertise progressively. Foundational books first. Advanced books build on foundation. Sequential reading creates coherent knowledge. Random reading is scattered knowledge. Sequential reading is systematic expertise. Read systematically. Second, preview before deep reading. Table of contents, index, skim chapters. This preview provides map of book, shows structure, helps you read with context. Preview creates framework for absorbing content. Reading without preview is walking blind. Reading with preview is following map. Always preview. Third, read actively with purpose. Why are you reading this? What specific knowledge do you seek? Read with question in mind. This purpose focuses attention and improves comprehension. Purposeless reading wanders. Purposeful reading focuses. Now always read with purpose. Fourth, take notes while reading. Key concepts, important insights, questions that arise, your thoughts about material. These notes create active engagement and future reference. Reading without notes is passive. Reading with notes is active. Always take notes. Fifth, use highlighting strategically. Not everything. Only genuinely important passages. Over-highlighting is useless. Strategic highlighting identifies what matters most. Highlighting everything highlights nothing. Highlighting selectively highlights what matters. Highlight selectively. Sixth, pause to think and connect. Don't rush through. Pause when important concept appears. Think about it. Connect to what you know. This reflection deepens understanding. Non-stop reading is consumption. Reading with reflection is learning. Pause to reflect. Seventh, finish what you start strategically. If book is valuable, finish it. If it's not, stop. Don't force finishing bad books from obligation. Time is better spent on valuable books. Finishing everything wastes time. Finishing valuable and abandoning valueless is wise. Choose strategically. Eighth, review after completing. What were main ideas? What will you apply? How does this connect to other knowledge? Post-reading review consolidates learning. Reading without review loses detail. Reading with review solidifies learning. Always review. Ninth, revisit important books. First reading provides overview. Second reading provides depth. Some books are worth multiple readings. Deep books reveal more on rereading. Single reading is surface. Multiple readings are depth. Reread important books. 10th, discuss and debate what you read, with others or in writing. Discussion reveals understanding and gaps. Debate sharpens thinking. These social processes deepen learning from reading. Solo reading is individual learning. Discussed reading is enhanced learning. Discuss what you read. Here's what strategic reading looks like. You select book building on previous reading and domain. You preview table of contents and skim chapters. You read with purpose, understanding specific framework. You take notes on key concepts. You highlight strategic passages. You pause to think and connect concepts to your work. You finish because book is valuable. You review main ideas and note applications. 6 months later, you reread, gaining deeper understanding. You discuss concepts with colleague, which sharpens your understanding. This strategic approach extracts maximum learning from reading. Active engagement, clear purpose, reflection, review, discussion. Each element multiplies value of time spent reading. Compared to passive reading, you read same book. No preview, no clear purpose, no notes. Highlight everything or nothing. Rush through without reflection, no review, no discussion. You finish but remember little and apply nothing. Same time investment, dramatically different learning outcome. Here's your practice. Next book, read strategically. Preview first. Define reading purpose. Take notes actively, highlight selectively. Pause to reflect. Review after completing. Discuss with someone. Notice how strategic approach creates dramatically better learning than passive reading. Apply strategic approach to all future reading. Read strategically and effectively. Choose books systematically. Preview before reading. Read with purpose. Take notes actively. Use strategic highlighting. Pause to think and connect. Finish strategically. Review after completing. Revisit important books. Discuss what you read. Chapter 9. Learn from experience systematically. Experience is a valuable teacher, but only if you extract lessons. Most people experience events without learning from them. They react. They move on. They don't reflect systematically. This wastes experience's educational potential. Systematic learning from experience means deliberate reflection, extracting lessons, identifying patterns, forming principles. This systematic extraction transforms experience into wisdom. Without system, experience is just events that happen. Learning from experience is particularly valuable because it's personalized. You learn exactly what works in your context, what doesn't, why. This customized learning is more relevant than generalized knowledge from books. Let me teach you to learn from experience systematically. First, schedule regular reflection time, a daily brief reflection, weekly deeper reflection. This scheduled reflection ensures it happens rather than being skipped when busy. Sporadic reflection misses lessons. Regular reflection captures them. Schedule it. Second, reflect on both success and failure. Not just when things go wrong. Success teaches what works. Failure teaches what doesn't. Both are valuable teachers. Reflect on both systematically. Only learning from failure is incomplete. Learning from both success and failure is comprehensive. Reflect on both. Third, ask structured questions. What happened? Why? What worked? What didn't? What would I do differently? What principles can I extract? Structured questions guide productive reflection. Random reflection is scattered. Structured reflection is productive. Use structured questions. Fourth, write reflections. Why? Don't just think, write. Writing clarifies thinking. Written reflections can be reviewed later. This compounds their value over time. Mental reflection fades. Written reflection persists. Always write reflections. Fifth, identify patterns across multiple experiences. Single experience is data point. Multiple experiences reveal patterns. Look for recurring themes. These patterns are where wisdom emerges. Individual lessons are useful. Pattern recognition is powerful. Identify patterns. Sixth, extract actionable principles. From patterns, derive principles for future action. When X situation occurs, do Y. These principles guide future behavior based on past learning. Observations without principles are interesting. Principles derived from observations are useful. Extract principles. 7. Test extracted principles. It would deliberately apply them. See if they work. This testing validates or refines principles, creates knowledge that's both experience-based and tested. Untested principles are hypotheses. Tested principles are validated knowledge. Test everything. 8th, update principles based on new experience. As you gain more experience, some principles need refinement. Be willing to update. This iteration builds increasingly accurate understanding. Static principles ignore new learning. Updated principles incorporate it. Update regularly. 9th, share experience-based lessons. With team, with community. Teaching experience-based lessons deepens your understanding and helps others. Private lessons help you. Shared lessons help many. Share generously. 10th, build personal experiential database. Collection of reflections, patterns, principles. This database becomes your personalized wisdom library, uniquely valuable because it's based on your experience. Lost reflections are lost learning. Collected reflections are accumulated wisdom. Build database. Here's what systematic experiential learning looks like. You lead project that goes well. Friday afternoon, you reflect. What made this successful? Strong upfront planning, clear communication, regular check-ins. You write reflection noting these factors. Next project goes poorly, you reflect. What went wrong? Unclear requirements, inadequate testing. You write this reflection. You review multiple project reflections. Pattern emerges. Projects succeed when requirements are clear, communication is frequent, testing is adequate. You extract principle. Before starting projects, ensure clear requirements, documentation, establish communication cadence, and build adequate testing time. You test this principle on next project. It works. Principle is validated. You share it with team. Over years, you build comprehensive database of project management lessons derived from your actual experience. This personal wisdom library is invaluable reference, guides decisions, prevents repeating mistakes, enables replicating successes, compared to no systematic learning, same experiences, but no structured reflection, no written notes, no pattern identification, no principle extraction. Each experience happens and is forgotten. No accumulated wisdom despite years of experience. You keep making same mistakes because you never systematically learn from them. Here's your practice. Start daily 5-minute reflection. What happened today? What worked? What didn't? What did I learn? Write brief notes. Weekly, review daily reflections for patterns. Monthly, extract principles from patterns. After 3 months, you'll have substantial collection of experience-based wisdom that non-reflectors never develop. Learn from experience systematically. Schedule regular reflection. Reflect on success and failure. Ask structured questions. Write reflections. Identify patterns. Extract actionable principles. Test principles. Update based on new experience. Share lessons. Build experiential database. Chapter 10. Stay motivated. Long-term. Initial learning enthusiasm is easy. Long-term learning commitment is hard. Motivation fades. Life gets busy. Progress feels slow. Maintaining daily learning practice for months and years requires strategies beyond initial enthusiasm. Long-term motivation comes from multiple sources: clear purpose, visible progress, community, identity, habit, variety. These elements sustain learning when novelty wears off and real work begins. Staying motivated also requires managing obstacles, plateaus, setbacks, competing priorities. These challenges break many learning commitments. Preparing for them enables persistence through them. Let me teach you to stay motivated long-term. First, connect learning to meaningful goals. Why are you learning this? How does it serve larger purpose? A clear connection between daily learning and meaningful goals provides motivation that surface interest doesn't. Interest fades. Purpose persists. Connect learning to purpose. Second, track visible progress. Knowledge accumulated. Skills developed. Books completed. Topics mastered. This visible progress proves learning is working. Proof maintains motivation. Invisible progress is demotivating. Visible progress is motivating. Make progress visible. Third, celebrate milestones. 30 days consistent, 100 books read, first application success. These milestones mark progress. Celebrating them reinforces positive behavior. Uncelebrated progress is unremarked. Celebrated progress is acknowledged and reinforcing. Celebrate milestones. Fourth, join learning community. Others committed to continuous learning. In this community normalizes daily learning, provides support, creates accountability. Social elements enhance motivation. Solo learning is harder. Community learning is supported. Find community. Fifth, vary learning activities, not just reading. Include courses, discussions, projects, teaching, application. Variety maintains engagement. Monotony kills motivation. Single activity becomes tedious. Varied activities maintain interest. Build variety. Sixth, set learning challenges. Personal challenges. Month of focused learning on topic. Reading challenges. These challenges create short-term focus that maintains long-term practice. Routine without challenge is boring. Challenge within routine is engaging. Create challenges. Seventh, make identity shift. I am learner becomes identity. This identity supports consistent learning because it's who you are, not just what you do. Behavior level commitment is fragile. Identity level commitment is robust. Shift identity. Eighth, schedule breaks strategically, not quitting. Strategic breaks. Learning sabbatical concept. Week off quarterly. Prevents burnout. Makes long-term sustainable. No break approach burns out. Strategic breaks sustain. Plan breaks. Ninth, refresh learning focus periodically. Not abandoning current learning, adding new dimension, prevents staleness, maintains curiosity, keeps learning fresh. Endless same focus becomes stale. Periodic refresh maintains freshness. Refresh strategically. 10th, remember compound effect. Daily learning feels small, but compounds dramatically over months and years. Reminding yourself of long-term compound maintains motivation through daily small steps. Short-term thinking sees minimal progress. Long-term thinking sees compound. Think long-term. Here's what sustained motivation looks like. You've been learning daily for 18 months. Initial enthusiasm has faded, but you continue because learning connects to career advancement goal. You track progress. 40 books completed, 3 courses finished, new skills developed. You celebrate these milestones. You're part of learning community that meets monthly. You vary activities, reading, courses, projects, teaching. You set quarterly learning challenges. You identify as learner. You take week off learning each quarter to recharge. You periodically add new topics to maintain freshness. You remember 18 months of daily learning has created expertise that will serve you for decades. This multifaceted motivation sustains through years. When one source weakens, others maintain. Motivation becomes reliable because it's built on many foundations, not just initial enthusiasm. Compare to no motivation strategy. You start learning daily. Initial enthusiasm carries you for weeks. Then it fades. You have no other motivation source, no progress tracking, no community, no variety, no identity shift, no break strategy. You struggle a bit, then quit. Another failed learning commitment. Here's your practice. Build motivation infrastructure before needing it. Connect learning to meaningful goal. Set up progress tracking. Find or create learning community. Plan variety. Start identity shift. Schedule strategic breaks. Create quarterly challenges. Build these motivational supports now. They'll sustain you when initial enthusiasm fades. Stay motivated long-term. Connect to meaningful goals. Track visible progress. Celebrate milestones. Join learning community. Vary learning activities. Set challenges. Make identity shift. Schedule breaks strategically. Refresh focus periodically. Remember compound effect. We've explored 10 essential dimensions of daily education. Understanding what self-education requires. Choosing what to learn strategically. Creating daily practice. Learning from multiple sources. Applying knowledge immediately. Teaching to deepen learning. Building knowledge systems. reading strategically, learning from experience systematically, and staying motivated long-term. These aren't just learning tips. They're comprehensive framework for building continuous learning practice that creates genuine advantage. Understanding how learning works, what creates retention, what builds expertise, what compounds over time. Applying this understanding makes you continuous learner who stays ahead of vast majority. But understanding these dimensions changes nothing without implementation. You can know how to learn and never actually learn. You can recognize value of education and never educate yourself. You can agree with everything in this audiobook and remain exactly where you are. So here's the question. Will you actually educate yourself daily? Will you commit to continuous learning? Will you invest time when you'd prefer entertainment? Most people won't. They'll intend to learn. They'll consume content without applying. They'll remain in 99% rather than ahead of it. You can be different. You can join the 1% who continuously learns. But it requires commitment beyond intention. It requires daily discipline. It requires long-term persistence. It requires doing work of learning regardless of feelings. Because here's what's at stake. Knowledge and skills are ultimate assets. Compound continuously, become more valuable over time. Create opportunities, enable capabilities, protect against obsolescence. The more you learn, the more valuable you become. Your current knowledge determines current results. Better knowledge creates better decisions. Better decisions create better outcomes. Better outcomes create better life. Daily education is investing in everything improving through better knowing and better doing. Right now, you're either learning or falling relatively behind. There's no standing still. Others are learning. Markets are changing. Skills are evolving. If you're not continuously learning, you're continuously becoming less relevant. Daily education is how you maintain and increase relevance. 6 months from now, you could have dramatically more knowledge. You could have developed valuable expertise. You could be significantly ahead of where you are now. All because you educated yourself daily while others consumed entertainment. Or 6 months from now, you could know exactly what you know today. Same limitations, same capabilities, just 6 months older. While others who committed to daily learning moved ahead, the gap between learners and non-learners grows every day. Here's what I want you to do, starting tomorrow. First, choose your primary learning domain using Chapter 2 framework. What expertise would create most value? That becomes your focus. Second, create daily learning practice using Chapter 3 guidelines. Schedule specific time. Set up space. Commit to 30 minutes minimum daily. Third, identify quality sources using Chapter 4 approach. Books, courses, mentors, practice opportunities, multiple complementary sources. Fourth, commit to immediate application from Chapter 5. Everything you learn, apply within 24 hours. Knowledge becomes skill through application. Fifth, start teaching what you're learning using Chapter 6 strategies. Blog, videos, explanations to friends. Teaching deepens understanding. These 5 actions, started tomorrow, launch your continuous learning journey. Not thinking about learning, actual daily learning, strategic focus, daily practice, quality sources, immediate application, teaching for depth, foundation built, then continue, daily, for months, for years, through motivation fading, through life being busy, through progress feeling slow. Continue because continuous learning is who you are, not just what you do. After 90 days, you'll notice substantial knowledge gain. After 6 months, expertise is developing. After 1 year, you're significantly ahead of where you started. After 5 years, you're in different category entirely. This is power of compound learning. But this only happens if you start, if you commit, if you persist. Words without action create nothing. Daily learning creates everything. Educate yourself every day, not occasionally, not when convenient, every day. Make learning non-negotiable priority. Protect learning time, invest learning time, compound learning time. This commitment places you ahead of 99%, not because you're smarter, because you're a learner. Continuous learner who invests daily in growing knowledge and skills. This continuous learning is competitive advantage that widens over time. Stop consuming entertainment disguised as education. Stop intending to learn without actually learning. Stop hoping to gain knowledge without systematic effort. Start educating yourself daily. Start building genuine expertise. Start creating real advantage. The gap between 1% and 99% isn't talent. It's continuous learning. The 1% learns daily. The 99% doesn't. Which will you be? Your knowledge is your greatest asset. Your learning ability is your greatest capability. Your education commitment is your greatest investment. These compound into advantage that places you ahead of vast majority. Educate yourself every day, not when you feel like it. Every day, not learning everything. Learning what matters, not consuming passively. Learning actively, not occasionally, daily. Stay ahead of 99% through continuous learning, through systematic knowledge building, through deliberate skill development, through sustained commitment. This is your competitive advantage. This is your path forward. This is your continuous learning journey. Begin tomorrow. Continue forever. Stay ahead through learning.